Welcome everybody to Sin City Living. My name is Jason and I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content for you guys coming out every single week, every single day generally. Occasionally miss a day like I did during the rodeo that is still ongoing right now. And I hope all of our patrons out there are appreciating the patron-only exclusive videos we're putting out with the Dice class, putting one out every couple of weeks. And if you're curious about that, go ahead and check the description down below. Once I get this whole live stream thing figured out, I'm probably going to do a live stream on the patron site as well. One on the regular site, one on the patron site. I do have the new computer for it. Theoretically, I have everything ready. I'm just so busy currently with this rodeo. And one of our fans asked a question a little while back about ways to tip us, to show appreciation to us without having to sign up as one of our patrons. And at the time we did not have any way of doing it, but I have managed now to get us signed up with a site called Buy Me a Coffee. As I'm sure some of you guys have noticed from some of our videos, Louie and I are both pretty heavy coffee drinkers. So if you're curious about that as well, go ahead and check down below in the description as well. We would definitely appreciate any cups of coffee you're willing to pick up for us. And don't forget to email us with any strategies, questions, suggestions, anything at all. We love shooting those videos for you guys. I actually haven't gotten a new email in about 2 weeks. And also, don't forget, anybody that may be interested in one of the small Sin City Living neons that we have, just email us that as well, sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get into today's episode. So for this video, we want to elaborate on a quasi-question, I suppose, that was asked in one of the comments to one of our other videos. It's a subject that's been covered before, but we've covered most subjects at least once before in our, I don't know, I think we're at 400 videos, or really, really close. Things get lost back in the background noise, so I appreciate it when people ask these questions, so it lets me know which things we need to circle back around and talk about again. And this one deals with the don'ts. So this question, let me bring up the comment, I had to snap a picture of it. So it says he did not think you could pick up your don't pass after a point is set. Okay, let's look at this, because he says something else right after that. So once the point is set, regardless of what the point is, he says he was under the impression you could move it to the pass line, but you couldn't pick it up entirely. I bet you I know where that impression comes from. He was the shooter. That's my guess on where that impression comes from. The fact that you could pick it up and move it to the pass line bet once the point was established. My guess, because he was the shooter, because in order to shoot, you have to have either a pass line or a don't pass bet. Now, pass line bets, as we know, are contract bets. They're locked in once there is a point. Now, of course, I have people ask, what if the player just picks up the don't pass, because they're allowed to do that? They are absolutely allowed to do that. They're also absolutely no longer allowed to shoot. We would pass the dice to the next shooter, unless the player picked up their bet and put it on the pass line. Now they have a pass line bet, now they could shoot, which is why the shooter won't be able to place the point on the line. They'll have to put it on the pass line. But otherwise, if you're not the shooter, you can absolutely pick up your don't pass. The reason being is kind of twofold. The obvious and simplest answer is because, again, the don't pass is the direct opposite of the pass line. So with a pass line, you can always add to your bet, but you cannot make it smaller. It's a contract bet. So you could take your $10 bet, make it a $15 bet, or $20 bet. But you couldn't then turn around a roll later and make it 15 again. So if you flip that around, that means you cannot add to your pass line bet, but you can make it smaller. Well, 0 is as small as it gets. So, of course, you can take up your don't pass bet. Now, why is that? The other reason, and the more intricate and mathematical reason why, is because it benefits the casino. Once there is a point set, this bet is favored. There are always more ways for that to win than there are for it to lose. So the casino is more than willing to let you pick it back up because that favors them. People that pick up their don't passes on the 6 or 8, they always make the dealers kind of chuckle. We get why. It's still not 50-50. You are still the favorite, but it's a less likely favorite. And some people will pick it up because they want to switch to the light side. Is even though it's a slight favorite on the don't pass, they are hoping to be able to start making some money and catch a decent roll. So yes, you can pick up your don't pass anytime there's a point. That's what they mentioned, that they thought they could move it, but they didn't think that but they thought that their bet has to remain in either the do or the don't until resolved. Only if you were the shooter. And then they mentioned that you can no action a DC. That is absolutely correct. And it's basically for the same reason. Let's look at it this way. Let's say the point is 10, okay? You have a $10 don't come bet. Now let's say a 6 rolls. Well, you could travel to the 6, right? Now remember, this right here, this bet being behind the 6 is absolutely no different than a don't pass bet with the point being 6. It's the exact same thing, because a don't come is just starting a brand new game. So if you travel behind the 6, well, remember, if you wanted to, in this situation, you could pick up your bet, right? Well, in this situation, same thing. If you wanted to, you could pick up your bet. Maybe you want to hope for a different number, maybe a number more favorable, 4 or 5, 9 or 10, because you want to do a leg. So then you just put your don't. Then you could, of course, bet again in the don't come. So rather than go through the travel, coming down, rebet, you have the option to just say no action, and the dealer waves it off. They have to wave it off for the cameras. They have to show that they saw the bet and that the player declined to have it move. So the dealer will wave off the no action on the bet, and then we just keep on going. What happens if the dealer doesn't wave that off? Well, the reason we have to wave it off is game protection. It's for the protection of the dealer to prevent any of what we call shots or jackpots. What if we didn't wave that off, right? What if we're doing everything else and we come to the point where we would travel the don't come, and before we even reach for it, the player says no action. And we go, okay, no action, and we go and do everything else, and then we step back and we wait, and the very next roll is a 7 out, right? Well, 7 out would lose here. That would lose. So now the player says, you forgot to travel my 6. No, you said no action. Prove it. Let's go back and look at the cameras. Does it look like the dealer even acknowledged that bet? Did they start to reach for it and then go back? Because then you could make a case that, okay, clearly the player said no action, although the dealer doesn't really signal that. But if the dealer takes the field, player says no action, so the dealer goes, okay, no action, and starts paying their place bets. At no point did they even acknowledge that. So a case could be made that the dealer just flat out missed it, didn't see it. It can happen. For some reason, this is a blind spot, probably because it's so close and tucked into the corner and not as popular of a bet. So we're not always looking there. I always make the joke about putting a little blind spot mirror on my glasses. The focus is just on the don't pass or don't come. And so a player could, of course, certainly try and take a shot. And if they said the no action low enough, maybe the other dealer and the box didn't hear it. So now we got an issue. For a $10 one, we're probably not going to worry about it, but it's going to be up to the box. But if the dealer waves off the bet, then that is very clear to the cameras that the player said no action. And not only did the player say no action, but the dealer actually waved it off to where in front of the player, they could see it and did not travel it. So at that point, there is no excuse for the player to say a roll later, oh, you forgot to travel my bet. So that's why we wave it off. But again, yes, you can wave it off, because that's no different than traveling behind it and then picking it up, which you're allowed to do. Right? A lot of people fail to realize that they can pick up their don'ts if they so choose. So I know this is a somewhat shorter video, but fairly short subject to go over. I do hope this answers the question. Thank you very much for that comment, that question. Remember, you can always email these to us as well at cincityliving.lv@gmail.com. Thank you guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye now. So, as I promised, I wanted to go over very briefly our upcoming attempts at a third test live stream. So what's happened so far? The first test live stream just flat didn't work. The problem that I had was was an equipment problem. I had an equipment problem in that the equipment that I was using to translate the camera into streamable video to the computer required a better USB port than the computer I was using at the time. So that one just flat failed because it would not translate into the computer. The computer would not pick it up, would not read it, so I wasn't able to live stream it. So then, as I was looking through, because I'm a little bit of a tech head, as I was looking through all of my other stuff, because I do have 4 laptops here and 3 computers, I did find one that actually did have the newer style USB port. Unfortunately, it was actually my oldest laptop, but I figured, what the heck, let me give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? And this time around, when I fired everything up, the video was actually translating onto the computer, so things were looking better. But then when I attempted to live stream, the computer was not powerful enough to be able to translate it and then upload it sufficiently. So it basically just uploaded a blank screen for the live stream. So what I am going to have to do is, and I'm already looking into all of my options, I'm going to upgrade my computer so I can add, what, a 7th, 8th computer to my household. And I'm going to go much, much higher, and I'm going to get a computer that is far more than I need for this, far, far, far more powerful than I need for this. That way, any future upgrades that I may do, the computer will be able to handle it. So unfortunately, this computer is going to cost me about 25% more, about 25% of what I've already laid out in all the equipment for this channel. So it wasn't something I could just instantly buy. I'm probably looking at Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So hopefully I have it within the next couple of weeks, and then I'll do another test live stream and see if I can go from there. So I will definitely do at least one weekly live stream on our Patreon because they're the ones that are really helping us get this computer. And the other equipment that I'm going to get, because I figure if I'm buying the computer, I might as well buy the most high-end capture cards and things along those lines, get everything as good as possible, and then hopefully eventually get a better microphone for you guys. So yeah, that's where we stand on the live stream. As soon as I have the computer and I do the test, which will be in a few weeks, like I said, got to order it in a week or two, then I have to wait for it to ship. Plus we have probably the biggest event of the year coming up, the NFR National Finals Rodeo. So I'm basically working 2 weeks straight, as is my wife. So not going to have a whole lot of time. But once we get all that under control, then we'll figure out. There's been some schedule changes to myself, some schedule changes to my wife, and some upcoming schedule changes to my wife as well. So hopefully we can get all the scheduling figured out so I know when I'll be able to live stream as well. My initial plan of Thursdays at 6 o'clock is already out the window. I'm at work at that point now. So we will get it all figured out, and we will let you guys know, I promise. And otherwise, I hope you guys have found this interesting, enlightening, illuminating, or at least just plain fun. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.